Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's little silly video I put out. Disclaimer, none of that was true. Today's video is going to be how to clean and maintenance your hand pump. For real this time, I promise. There's two parts. There's the inspection and the cleaning part. So this is where you would inspect the pump, make sure there's no structural damage or anything like that. It's quick and easy. The second part is cleaning your pump, and that's the part that's going to take the longest, and you want to make sure that it's nice and clean. And the last part is going to be refinishing your pump. During the cleaning process, we're going to be removing a lot of the lubricants and things like that, so we want to make sure that we put in fresh, new lubricant at the end. Let's get started. First, we're going to start off by taking a look at our pump. Take a look at it around the corners and extend the nozzle of the pump. How does that feel? Does the tip of this feel loose or does it feel solid? Are there any chips or any cracks or any place that could use repair? If any pieces do need repairing, if this handle is loose or anything like that, you're going to want to make sure that you fix that first. Obviously making sure that you clean the area with like denatured alcohol or something like that before gluing. And that's pretty much the inspection part for the outside of the pump. Now let's go to the inside. Start by unscrewing this cap on the top here until it becomes loose. Once it's loose, you're going to put your fingers on the top here and pull all the way up on the nozzle. That should then loosen the mechanism on the inside, and you can actually see how much dirt is in there. You can see mine's pretty dirty, so it needs a good cleaning. Now is the time you want to look at the plastic pieces that are part of the mechanism. Are there any chips? Are there any cracks? Is the plastic warped? And also check this piece here. This is the piece that sits on the top when the pump is flush, when it sits like this. Next, we're going to check the O-ring. Make sure when it's balanced that it sits pretty flush with the edge of the mechanism here. And make sure that it's not stretched out. If it is stretched out, or if it's warped or anything like that, you might want to get a new O-ring. You can find these pretty cheap at your local home improvement center. Lastly, you want to make sure that you look at the inside of your pump to see if there's any debris or anything like that, or any nicks or big scratches that may turn into a crack later on. There's not really anything you can do about those, but it's still something to consider whether or not it's worth saving the pump. Okay, now that we checked out our pump, it looks in pretty good condition. It's just a little dirty, so we're going to clean it up next. Okay, welcome everybody to my downstairs bathroom. We're going to wash the parts now. What we're going to do is we're going to wash this part here with soap and water. We're going to take off the O-ring, wash this as well, and then we're going to wash the inside of this. Okay, now that we've washed our pump, we want to make sure it's completely dry. So after you've wiped it down with a towel, you might want to let it sit out for a while. Or if you live in a dry environment, or maybe it's the middle of winter, it'll dry faster. A couple of places you'll want to make sure you dry that tend to collect moisture are this little gasket right here. This little gasket right here collects moisture underneath it on that side. And then around the O-ring here and around here collects moisture. And there's also another gasket on the inside. You can blow in from here gently. You don't want to ruin the gasket, but just a little bit to make sure that it's dry. Now that we let our pump dry, the next step is to reattach the O-ring. Now, inside this cavity on the mechanism where the O-ring was a little bit of seal grease, like a pump grease. So we're going to want to reapply fresh grease to the inside of here. Now, you want to be careful what kind of grease you use, because you can't just use any kind of grease. You want to make sure that the grease that you use is going to be safe for plastic. After you have the O-ring greased up a little bit, it's time to go to the body. We're going to put a little bit of lubrication in the body as well, so that way the pump runs smooth. And for this, we're going to use a spray, specifically food-grade silicone. This is Trident brand, and it's a brand that's commonly used for water sports equipment, so scuba diving and stuff like that. You're not going to put a lot of this on. As a matter of fact, a little bit goes a long way. You're going to do a tiny, tiny spritz around the wall of your pump, and that's all you need. Now it's time to reassemble your pump. Make sure when you insert the mechanism, you insert it straight, and make sure that the O-ring stays inside the mechanism. Make sure it doesn't slip out. You're going to push your blue cap against the base there. You're going to get your little tiny O-ring right there. Push that up against the cap, and then you're going to push the gasket down a little bit, and then you're going to push down the red part and screw the cap back on. Now, of course, when you're screwing on this part, you don't want to tighten it all the way down. Tighten it up a bit, and then back it off just a smidge. Give it a couple of priming pumps to move around the silicone spray and the grease we put in, and you're good to go. Not even 5 to 10 minutes of work, and your pump's as good as new. My hands are still slippery from the grease. If you find your pumps a tiny bit sticky, try adding just a pinch more of the silicone spray. And now you know how to clean and maintenance your balloon hand pump. If you're having some trouble with your hand pump, if it's not pumping like it used to, if it's really hard to pump, or if there's not a lot of air coming out of it, I would definitely give these cleaning and maintenance techniques a try. I hope you get a lot of use out of this information, and yeah, that's gonna do it for me for today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!